So again, we're big about growth. We're big about social media. That's why we're doing this. That's why we're doing this vlog. That's why we're being on YouTube. We want to make sure that we're leading and redefining how real estate is sold and how the real estate industry is. It's a very, very dated industry. Our job here at Redefine Real Estate is to bring it up to speed, to change all the bad behaviors in real estate and make it fun simultaneously. And one of the best ways to do so is through training, coaching, and education. There's stuff going on today. Hi, welcome. Episode 4, I think, of Building the Brokerage. So it's been way too long. I meant to do way more updates along the way to show, maybe to interview some of the contractors, to show the walls being studded, the electrical, you know, some of the different mason work and the different problems we had to get through across the way. But to be honest with you, I've been too damn busy. So there's a lot of progress happening on the building here at Building the Brokerage for Redefine Real Estate. I think this is vlog number 4. Don't quote me on that. The last few weeks of my life is kind of like a blur between finishing up the summer busy season and trying to get through that at work and actually still sell real estate and still work on all the problems and solutions here. So we wanted to give you an update because we're still a few weeks out, believe it or not. We're close to, let me think, 10 months into this whole thing. So as a reminder, if you haven't tuned into our episodes before, my name is Matt Talbot. I am the future founder of Redefine Real Estate, the newest brokerage in town. So we're very, very excited for Redefine Real Estate. I've been selling real estate for 6 years, over 500 sales, millions of dollars in revenue through the years. And our goal is always to build a team. We've done that. My team is the Talbot team, and we are now moving into our new brokerage, which you see behind us here in Detroit, or Metro Detroit, Michigan, Plymouth to be specific. So lots of changes since our last video. We want to give you a quick tour, quick update, let you know what's going on, some of the hurdles we had to get over, some of the problems, trials, tribulations, and really just show you kind of how things are going. So if you were to watch episode to episode, you can see the progression of building the brokerage. You want to be on TV?
How are you doing, man?
Good. They're painting over here. I came by at like 7 o'clock. They were painting.
Yeah, I left at about 5:30.
Are they done with it?
And they were here, and yeah, they got it white for you.
Try not to get me a picture.
So.
What's that? Yeah. You get in trouble, right? Enjoy it. It's Friday. All right. Cool. Does it look good?
Yeah, the paint.
Paint?
They covered up everything. Yeah, so we're not two-toned anymore.
Okay.
He's running the water line now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seemed to blend all this a lot better.
Cool. Yeah, no, it looks like it at first glance. I'll look at it closer in a minute here, but
thicker paint.
Yeah.
Yeah. It seemed to do the trick. So.
Yeah, they just spray it. They spray it and roll it.
Spray it, roll it. Yeah.
Okay. Because he was spraying it when I pulled up last night out here, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, they sprayed it back a little bit. I think he's here now.
Okay. We still got some stuff to finish up. There we go.
Sure. I know around that window right there, it needs to get hit. Like,
yeah, like little shit like this.
The bottom? Yeah, that stuff will have to.
Yeah, they'll touch all that shit up, right?
Well, you didn't want them spraying it.
No, not at all. I just want to so they're almost done. Not 100%. I love it. One of the actually probably the biggest problem child with this building is in my opinion, a testament to real estate in general, and that's one thing to consider always, whether it's residential or commercial, and always water can become a major problem. So because this building was left to its own vices for a long time, the roof had failed, there was leaks everywhere, and I knew it was bad going into. We knew it was going to be some bit of an issue. However, when you kind of start opening up Pandora's box, there's more and more issues throughout the entire building due to those water issues and that water failure in a lot of different points. So a lot of places, including a major structural beam, was completely failed when we started taking things apart. So that added a couple weeks delay to the whole process here. We had to order the steel, have that installed by the masons and stuff like that. And then exterior, so there's a few things that we did. But once we really power washed and started scraping the building, we realized it was failed a lot worse than we thought. And that was due to that water. So water starts, getting in the brick and getting in the block and, on both sides and stuff stuff like that for a long enough period of time, it really starts to erode the block. Actually, one side, the technical south side of the building, the whole top layer block was completely failed. It was all disintegrated. You could basically just pick it up and pull it apart with your hands. So we had to literally shave off an entire row of block when they were doing the roof. And then the exterior, there's been lots of different versions. We power washed it like 3 times. We didn't want to scrape it too hard because some of the mortar was failing and stuff like that. So we had to come up with some different solutions as how to keep it in good standing and make sure to seal it appropriately so water does stay out. And finally, it looks good today. It hasn't been looking good for weeks. We finally have that bright white paint on it, which is holding up nice. Finally, it looked like for weeks, to be honest with you, trying to work through all this stuff. And as the owner, it's interesting going through it on my end of the coin, because for the most part, I'm able to help clients and assist clients and almost be a psychiatrist for them throughout the sale, because you get so crazy and in your own head and such an emotional thing when you buy a building or do a build out or do new construction. And in this case, it was me. So I've been the one frustrated and probably pouting a little bit for a few weeks as we work through this, but I made it. I got through it myself, and here we are. So it's starting to look good. I'm excited to see the final result. YouTubing. Like that shirt. Holy Toledo. Here, I'll show you this. This is probably one of the most mind-blowing parts of the building to me as we're going through this, and that is the electrical work. As you can see, we have 3 big panels. There's still gonna be a low voltage panel and potentially another panel installed too. But if you look up, just the amount of pipe that they have to run for this size building to do it appropriately. I'm gonna have to talk a little bit louder because it is a construction site. All the other videos I've done when no one's here working, but so they're running a ton of pipe, and the reason why, if you look up top, they have to conduit everything and why it has to be so straight is we're keeping a lot of the ceilings exposed. So we wanna make sure that everything's very in alignment. Even though eventually this is all gonna get sprayed black, it's important that everything looks straight and that all the pipes are bended accordingly. And so this is quite the project for the electricians. They're doing a great job on it. I'm super excited. CI Electrical out of Detroit, great company to work with. They've been super awesome along the way. We've had a lot of back and forth, those guys, between fixtures and cutting costs and all the stuff between what the architecture had in the drawings and where we want to get to it. So there's been a lot of learning curve, but the pipe itself is pretty mind-blowing when the final product is here. So CI Electrical, those guys did a great job. Actually, I heard they did the top of Ford Field, which is where the Lions play, if you're not from Detroit. And if you're not from Detroit, Ford Field has completely covered the top of their stadium, and it actually glows like at night. So they can change colors, blue, purple, whatever, green, and depending on the color they got rocking that night, the entire city glows, especially if it's like a foggy night. It's pretty cool. It's almost like Gotham City around that stadium. Those guys did that. So right now they're hanging and running pipe to all the different drops where there's actually going to be linear lights hanging. And so I wanted this staggered pattern, which to them means a lot of measuring to get it right. So basically, instead of having like your long linear lights all in a row, they're going to be staggered, which is going to add to the aesthetics of the building, in my opinion. Something that I really, really want. And it looks very difficult. Like a lot of this stuff, I'm so glad I'm not doing because I could never figure it out. So it's cool to watch it, as it plays out here. So no lights in here yet. However, this is one of the rooms I'm most excited about in the whole brokerage, and that's our podcast room. We're gonna completely soundproof it. So there's sound bat insulation, and then there's rubber insulation. We're gonna drywall over that. Even the door has a special feature where when we close the door, there's gonna be a mechanism that pops down to completely soundproof it. We're only about, 500 feet from the railroad tracks here, so downtown Plymouth in general can be a little bit loud because there's lots of trains. So to make it as soundproof as possible was a little bit of a chore and definitely expensive, but I'm excited because we want to do more stuff just like this as we grow. We're very social media based, and the agents will have the availability to use that podcast room as they grow their businesses. That's a fun piece, and to me is a more modern piece when it comes to a real estate brokerage, which is exactly why we're doing this place, Redefine Real Estate. Doctor? I'm not stopping it. All right. One of the things that I've learned a lot when it comes to renovating this type of build out compared to building new construction. So through the years, we've done lots of residential new construction, done lots of build outs on buildings. So when you start with dirt, through your drawings and build from there. Everything's just built to a drawing, so you can kind of pre-order things. What I've noticed a lot about this building, since we're retrofitting everything, is a lot of things get custom measured before they're ordered. And so right now, one of the last features to go in is going to be our glass front offices here. And those have all been custom ordered, but they'll come in, they're gonna frame it, they measure it to spec to make sure it fits perfectly. And they've done that in a lot of different places. The windows, the doors, the glass fronts here, and other areas as well too. It's actually measured on site then ordered directly to make sure that we get it right, which is different from that new construction stuff in a lot of different ways. Meaning you kind of pre-order stuff because it's gonna fit perfectly as long as people are doing their job right. Here it's a little bit different. You're not ordering as much up front. You're gonna custom order stuff to spec based on how it fits on site here. Keep it going then, I guess. Whatever. What I mean. Watch yourself. I think you have 6 in. Okay, as you can see, our cabinetry is on site. I think that was a little premature. They're gonna store it, got on a truck, so we're here, we're gonna deal with it. I'm excited, it looks good so far. Hopefully the vibe comes together. One thing you also can't tell when you're doing this custom stuff and when you're kind of retrofitting a building is how it all looks when it's all said and done, right? I have some nice renderings and stuff, so I get an idea about like having it finally come together is super exciting. This project's been over a year now from when I first started looking at the building to now, and so it's been a lot going into it. This is another room that I'm very, very excited about. It hosts about 25, 30 people. It's gonna be a large training room, so we're gonna have 2 big TVs up there. I ordered some really nice furniture to be able to host 25, 30 people here. And we're excited about that because we're really big on training and education, and that's both for agents and real estate agents, mortgage brokers, the whole industry, and also clients themselves. So if we get a group of buyers or sellers or real estate agents or mortgage brokers and they want to meet on site here, we have a good room available to do so. Also, the main space is also set up to host bigger groups of over 100, and that's the same thing. So we're actually tying TVs together, so we'll be able to do presentations from the kitchen itself and be able to display that presentation on multiple TVs. So again, we're big about growth. We're big about social media. That's why we're doing this. That's why we're doing this vlog. That's why we're being on YouTube. We want to make sure that we're leading and redefining how real estate is sold and how the real estate industry is. It's a very, very dated industry. Our job here at Redefine Real Estate is to bring it up to speed, to change all the bad behaviors in real estate and make it fun simultaneously. And one of the best ways to do so is through training, coaching, and education. One of the features I've been waiting for throughout the entire process here is these garage doors. I think my mom kind of hated the idea of the industrial look. I went with it. I like it. This is an old body shop, so we have 3 big garage doors. This is one of them, and this particular door was one of the biggest problem childs, like I was talking about out front. It caused one of the biggest delays. The gutters were missing here, so there's a lot of water getting in for a long time. As you can see, the ceiling's still pretty beat up, but there's a beam that runs all the way across. It's a big, huge steel beam. Can't imagine what it weighs. And it was completely failed. They didn't realize how failed it was, so along the way we had to replace that. The masons had to come in, chip out all the way around that beam, and they couldn't even pull it out in one piece because it was failed so bad. It was bowing pretty bad, so the plan was to replace it, but just to get that thing out was like next to impossible. So they did so. We ordered the new metal, got that in. That took a couple extra weeks here. This is another piece. These 2 walls over here were closed off when we first started the project, and watching this whole gig take place was a super impressive process. So, actually knocking it out, supporting it along the way. They make sure to support it structurally along the way because the ceiling here is actually all cement. So this wall being low bearing, you're not only holding up the weight of the wall and the roof, but the roof is cement. So I mean, thousands and thousands of pounds. The good news is if there's ever like a tornado or anything here, I'll be good because it's all concrete. Even the roof. Shouldn't be long. Okay. But watching the masons do this and tooth this in with the new brick was so impressive. And as you can see, that's still steel up there. So It's completely reinforced with steel beams. There's 2 of them that really opened up the space, and not only opened up the space, which we wanted that more open feel, that co-working type vibe, but it also, because of the new garage doors and stuff like that, really brought a lot of light through in. So let's go outside. So not only opening up those walls really created that open space we're looking for, but it also helped with a lot of the light itself. So what's fun about this project, with it being mine, is that I actually started with the layout of the building in pencil and tons of erasers. Shout out to Allie at Rich Realty, because she's been letting me use her erasers for like a year, trying to figure out where things are gonna go and stuff like that as I kind of design things. So I made my sketch, sent it over to the architect, and they obviously made it way better, of course. But along the way, it was fun kind of designing it myself and understanding what that looked like. And so one big thing for me, having this industrial space, is like the reason why we're going with a different type of office is I think real estate offices are boring. You walk in, there's, you know, carpet, drywall, drop ceilings. It's like a boring old school office. And again, nothing against some of those people that own those offices like that. I know the work that goes into, you know, this, but we want it to be different. We want it to be more modern and fun and be aesthetically pleasing for video work and stuff like this. And so having the podcast studio, the space, and having it be a fun place to work. Plus, if I'm being honest, we want to throw some parties here. We want to get some get-togethers, have client appreciation events, have people out, have events here, and have some fun. So we have a nice sound system going in and stuff like that. But again, I wanted it to be a little bit less boring. So when we went with this more industrial look, to be able to accomplish that, have the open ceiling, have the polished concrete floors, have the cool lighting throughout, big open kitchen to be able to throw parties and events, it was hard to not make it dark and gloomy. And so where I punched in the windows and where we added the garage doors and then opened up the interior, those were hard changes and very expensive changes, but I think it's totally gonna add to natural light and the vibe of what it's like when you come to the office. So when real estate agents and our employees and stuff like that come to the office, hopefully it's a fun place to be. It's a different environment. It's a creative environment, so we can make things a little bit different than it's been done in the past. The windows turned out good, right? Like, I'm not used to the vlog. Usually we do like a lot of the work and we like shoot, we cut, we shoot, but this is like more of a vlog format. Listen guys, we understand that this channel is probably not gonna get millions of views, but the point is it's a cool thing to make. So as people see the brokerage evolve, as people see our company evolve, they can see where it all started. And I wanted to document this journey, not because it's about me and I wanted to be like me on camera and show everyone how great we are, nothing like that. It's quite the reverse. Like, this has been the hardest single thing I've ever done in my entire life. It's been years in the making, and along the way I've had to sell countless homes to be able to pay for the project and continue to pay for it, build the team, trying to deal with that, deal with personal, like, it's hard running a business, guys, and supporting your local businesses, supporting people that do so when they're creating their own thing and they're doing their own thing is so unbelievably beneficial, because this is very difficult. It's hands-on the hardest thing I've ever had to do. And so for me, documenting the journey, so at least if one person learned one thing from it along the way, it's totally worth it. And at a worst case scenario, one day my kids, grandkids, great-grandkids, they'll be able to see the whole journey and, you know, this crazy shit I got myself into. So last but not least, we wanted to talk about the glass. We had some custom glass ordered. The architect actually called that out. I really, really like the look of it. It has a nice film on it that actually blocks out the sun from coming in, so it controls the temperature, but it also gives a nice reflective look. I think it looks really, really cool. So I'm excited for that. Who was the glass company? Trenco, right? They did those too. Trenco Glass did a great job on that. They're finishing up the interior like we were talking about earlier. They did a great job. You wanna jump on it? All right, we'll ask him a question. So this is Billy. Billy's from National Building. He's been rocking it out the entire time.
We're building this building for
one step at a time. Yeah.
The corner office over here.
Yeah.
Block on both sides.
Yeah.
Do you want to do just the accent wall on the window side? Or do you want
I think probably both.
So like your office,
Yeah.
both sides,
Black.
accent.
Yeah, thank you.
That's all I needed.
Thanks, man. Cool, so actually one other update. We've been talking about this the entire time, so I figured I'd bring attention to it. They really started working hard in the building next door. So I lucked out. I think I've talked about this multiple times, but I'm very, very excited because Don over there is doing a great job, and he's really, really passionate about this restaurant they're putting in. So when I purchased the property, the restaurant didn't look like much next door. It was completely vacant and could have stayed that way, could have turned into a parking lot, who knows. But they're actually putting a real high-end restaurant in there as well too. So they started construction. They're actually demoing the back. They're putting an addition on that building and stuff like that. that. So it's cool to watch that kind of play out too. We lucked out a little bit. That's another lesson in real estate without a doubt, is, you know, understanding definitely with commercial, but also with residential, what's happening out in the neighborhood, how does that affect your property value, how do things play out. So that was a little bit of a risk when we first took it on. It turned out to be a great thing, hopefully a blessing long term. I wish those guys nothing but the best along the way. So we will jump more into building the brokerages, hopefully a little bit more as we finish up the building itself, and then we'll continue on as we build out the company. So I haven't even talked about any of that stuff. Simultaneously, while we're doing the building, we're working on, you know, reviewing all of our documents, making sure our purchase agreements and our listing contracts and our addendums and everything are buttoned up for the new brokerage. So having attorney reviews on all that stuff, completely rebranding everything. We're jumping into our team's operational processes and evolving them into a brokerage operational process. So we're doing a lot of that stuff on the back end too, which I'd like to document more of, because that's the difficult stuff. That's the hard stuff. That's the stuff that I think people can learn from as well too. If they're ever thinking about building a brokerage or a company, they can see how it works. They can learn a thing or two from our mistakes, hopefully. So thanks so much. I'm Matt Talbot, building the brokerage, Redefine Real Estate. Much love.